Hey y'all, what's going down? I'm back, y'all back, we all back. Okay, so we're gonna talk about. I'm pretty sure y'all saw the thumbnail. I got an opinion about this one, and I know we don't normally touch on what's going on with sports and whatnot because it really ain't no reason. Not over here. We really don't. We don't do that here. Not that I don't watch sports or that I may not have an opinion about what's going on with sports. It's just for the most part, I don't touch on it too much. It's just not there's no reason. But this time I do have an opinion and I do want to talk about it. And I'm glad y'all made it back. First off, those of y'all who already hit the like button, you are awesome. You're the best. I appreciate it. If you have not hit the like button yet, it is not too late at all. Please take a minute, reach over there, hit that like button, please and thank you. I truly appreciate it. But I want to get into this little conversation a little bit. I think it's one of those that is how do I put it? I won't say it's controversial at all. Not at all. Not when we're talking about a physical sport. The sport's physical, things get physical. But I want to talk about some of the other elements to this story that maybe ain't being talked about so much, but it got my attention. So we're going to do it. So, like I said, y'all go ahead and hit the like button as you come in. Subscribe if you have not subscribed. And remember, please hit the notification bell, guys. But if you don't hit the all button, you won't get all the notifications. So when you hit the notification bell, make sure you click all so you'll know every time we go live. Okay? Now let me greet everybody and then let's get on into the conversation. It's Quasia. Hey, Quasia. Tell our brother in law hello. Hey, Lady 747. Learning to love myself. Good to see you. Glennis, how are you? Kia Coco Pop. There's my gorgeous girl. I gotta give you a call too. Marva, how you doing? Queen Mermaid, good to see you. All right, we're glad to have you back. Angie, all the way here from Miami. I know you off work by now. You better be. Hey, Maureen Mercer, how are you? Love my dogs too. Hey, boo. Deandra is up in here. All right. So it's a few people still up and not watching television. Darren Hood, as I live and breathe. Darren, how you doing? Always good to see you. Alita, hey girl, what's happening? All right, New Year's Bay is in here. How are you? Vita is here from Denver, as usual. All right, we got Niecy Rose. Hey, gorgeous. You did see that fight. Yeah, it wasn't even a fight. It was just a mess. Hey, Jesse. How you doing? Tina, how are you? Sharon Fona, good to see you. All right, all right. JC made it. Oh, wow, I'm surprised. Go ahead, girl. Tell them. Subscribe and smash that notification bell. Hey, DS, how you doing? Dana Cutler, Miss Black and Yellow, good to see you too. So listen, if anybody else comes in, please y'all, greet them for me. You said, how's the tummy? It's a lot quieter. I still didn't eat anything yet. We gonna see how it goes. It's touch and go right now. So I'm not in no hurry to play with my stomach or try to piss it off. So I'm just gonna keep sipping. I've been sipping on my lemon juice all day. But let's talk, shall we? So what did you say, Niecy Rose? You said it was a whole fiasco. It was. It was a fiasco. Hey, Carol. How you doing? Yeah, it was definitely a fiasco. It was unfortunate that that took place. It was unfortunate to watch. And then it made me think about some of the other things that have been being said on both sides. The kind of things that are being said, the back and forth, it almost comes across as childish, from different sides of the arguments that are out. You got some people that say, it was a dirty play by LeBron. He intentionally hit this kid in the eye. You got people saying he's not a dirty player, and people get hit, and they do. As somebody who used to play basketball in high school, I'm pretty sure um, it happens. Like you can't, you're in there with all these arms and elbows. Somebody's gonna get hit. Like there's no two ways about it. Now I don't know, whether it was intentional or not intentional. I'm not even gonna speak on that part of it too much. To be very honest, hey Egypt. To be very honest, um, It just seemed like a lot of extra for no good reason. JC says Isaiah Stewart was not going to stop until he got a piece of LeBron. But I beg to differ because I saw him stop a whole lot of times. And I think he stopped every time he got into a situation where nothing was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to speak on that. But I just feel like it's it's just unfortunate. Sharon says, how in the world can you tell another man's intention by visually watching him make it make sense? That's what I said. I didn't understand that one either. Hey, Miss Believe. Hey, happy to be happy. So yeah, I didn't understand that one either. It did not make a lot of sense. Thank you, Alita. As far as them, assuming what he was thinking, what was going on. It looked more like a fling off, and it just you can haul off and you can hit somebody by accident. Anything can happen. Elbows happen, like they happen. So this is a physical sport. So let's not forget about that. But what I put, hey, LEL. So what I put on the thumbnail, I don't know if you can make it out because of the font, but it was, is this toxic masculinity or toxic femininity? That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Because I want to talk about what caused all the extra. What caused all the extra? JC says they said when he was close, he just squeezed LeBron's arm instead of throwing hands. But then what was with the theatrics? Then it looked crazy. Right. It looked extremely crazy. Hey, G, darling. So it looked crazy. Like I said, just if you look at it on the surface, I saw an elbow. The fist was closed. I'm like, how is that a big deal? Like usually if you clench, your fist is going to be closed regardless. I saw an elbow, not downplaying it. He shouldn't have done it, like, period. There's the argument out, oh, should he be suspended? Should he not? In my opinion, should he be suspended? Sure. Suspend him for a couple of games. Like, there's a way to handle that. Suspend him. He was ejected last night. Cool. At the end of the day, I feel like after Isaiah's behavior, I understand why he was ejected. But I want to talk about more than just the particulars of who hit who did what. LEL says he gave those fans their money's worth. I mean, you could say that, but he also gave himself a name that he may not be able to wash off. Yeah, I've seen the hockey games. Like, we get it, but that's not the point. I'm not talking about hockey. I'm talking about us today. And while there are a couple of black men who are playing hockey, we know by and large, hockey ain't got a whole lot to do with us. Just being real. Okay? Now you say LeBron is suspended for 1 game while Stewart has a 2-game suspension. Yeah. And mind you, I feel like LeBron could have took 2 or 3 games. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it was worth. I feel like it was his action was worth more than a 1-game suspension. That's just my opinion, Darren. I ain't saying nothing bad about LeBron. I don't have nothing against LeBron. I know a lot of people do. Alita said LeBron has a history of being melodramatic on the court. However, we're not talking about that because LeBron wasn't melodramatic on the court. The young man in question that was melodramatic on the court was Isaiah Stewart. Hey, Kimber. Right. It's not common for basketball, and it's probably not common and not allowed because it's, this is us. Let's just be honest. And we don't need to be doing it anyway. You say that wig glue went to his head. Possibly so. But I mean, men do that. So was the wig glue getting to people every time it was a blacktop game too? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just be real for a second. At what point did we become so fragile and soft? Hey, Miss Chocolate Divine. We still celebrating her birthday, y'all. We are. Say Stewart could have easily thrown his entire career down the toilet. That's what I'm talking about. Like, everybody want to get into the particulars and the back and forth and, oh, I don't like LeBron. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the reality. The reality is that this young man is 20 years old, okay? And he did not think, and he had a very volatile reaction that could cost him a whole lot. Hey, baby girl, that's mama's peanut. Say fouls happen, but the acting out he did was embarrassing. Fight or don't. Exactly. But you feel like that because you was raised by me. We don't really do a lot of that stuff. Yeah, I'm sure he did. That's what happens in basketball, Miss Chocolate Divine. I ain't trying to be funny, but I've played ball. It happens. It happens. If you say that you play basketball and you're gonna sit there and say you never thrown an elbow, or you never used your elbow, your arm to fling somebody or shove them off of you when they up on you like that, you lying. You've done it. So that's not even my issue. He did it. He shouldn't have done it. You got caught doing it. Everybody knows if you get caught doing it, you get penalized. You pay the cost. Dig it. Dig it. My problem is I'm looking at the actions of this young man and I'm seeing how it's affecting him. Just like Darren was saying, LeBron only got suspended for one game for his action. He would have did it and still got his 1 game suspension. But now this young man is facing a 2 game suspension because of how he chose to respond. Shane, what you say is the level of violence in hockey that's clearly acceptable, while this action earned LeBron an ejection and a suspension. But this ain't about hockey. And I'm not trying to be funny, but it ain't. Lel says, oh yeah, that was bad. He was doing entirely too much. It was scary to see how far he was going, thinking about the consequences. Right. That's what I'm saying. Marva says LeBron's hit happened so quickly. My son and I kept hitting the replay. It was hard to see if it was intentional. He went crazy, saw a lot of blood, but he was out of control. Yeah, I mean, any cuts on your face or scalp are going to be dramatic looking because of the amount of blood vessels in your head. Like, if you ever been hit upside your head or you done hit somebody upside the head, once you break the skin on the face of the head, it's a lot of blood. Like, I'm going to get to my point in a minute. I just want to kind of see where y'all coming from before I tell y'all what I really think. Say, honestly, I think Stewart was not thinking hips. He kept trying to get to LeBron again and again. Yeah, the theatrics. Oh, I'm going to calm down. Oh, I'm going to run back at him. I'm going to calm down. I'm going to run. Like, come on. It was too much. Way too much. Miss Chocolate Divine said, I don't blame Isaiah, but they will try to do him more because he kept going back. I do blame Isaiah. I do. And I blame his village too. Hey, Iridescent. Hey, Naturally Rooted. What's up, girl? Working and listening? Baby girl say his blood didn't have to be on display like that. His blood didn't start streaming until he started raging. He made it optically worse. Very true. Very true. And I'm going to tell you something. He made it worse. And I wait a minute, let me get Niecy's comment before I start talking. Niecy says that was quite a trigger for Stewart. The look on his face, he obviously had tunnel vision and saw red. I feel like that was the theater he was putting on. I feel like that was the theater he was putting on. But clearly you didn't see red. And the reason I say clearly you didn't see red, it was the raging and running until you ran up on Russell Westbrook and then all of a sudden your feet wasn't a freight train no more. The fact that when everything first popped off, LeBron was directly in front of you and you didn't swing on him. So let's not pretend like, oh, he was just so mad. He was a runaway train. He was a raging bull. It was bull crap. And in the meanwhile, what I feel like that I saw was a lot of feminine energy in that young man. That is what I saw. I saw a whole lot of feminine energy. And what further solidified my thought process was the amount of women that were sitting there. I would have did this and I would have, and that's all I could hear was the high pitched screeches of sisters saying, oh, I would have did this and I'd have did that. And I understand. And he was in the right. And then it scared me because I said he behaved like a woman. He had an emotional outburst through a hissy fit. Like literally, I had visions of Monique Samuels trying to get the secret squirrel last season. Period. JC, what you say? Homie did a whole tour of the stadium running around like he was going to hit LeBron. I think he was embarrassed and then got angrier. I just think he was acting out. I think once Isaiah started the embarrassing behavior, I think he was tied to it. Now that I believe that LeBron was right there. His ego was hurt because he had been hit by a LeBron. Right. Yeah, go watch the whole thing. It was a bit much. It was a whole tantrum. Yeah, girl, that nut said a tour. He did a tour. Now, first of all, hey Morgan's Musings. First of all, I'm impressed that you could run that long and you wasn't out of breath. My big tail would have been tired before I made it out the stadium. So we ain't gonna talk. I'm gonna give you your props because your gas tank is top notch. My cardio ain't like that. Okay, so I definitely get it. But that behavior was so feminine. So yeah, that's exactly what I saw. It was definitely giving Monique, and I kind of felt like Wendy with my reaction. Right. You know what I'm saying? He brought out the Wendy Yosefo in all of us. Okay? You want to call it childish instead of feminine. I'm going to call it feminine because that's what I saw. I'm going to call it what I see. Darren Hood said there's another video circulating of Isaiah Stewart versus Giannis. Now, you know I can't say that name. I know who you talking about, but you know God bless me. And that happened a few months ago. So you just watched that video too. Okay. Darren, what was your opinion of that video? You saw the video? Give me your opinion of it. Because the reason I want to get into it is because it's some very interesting variables. It's some very interesting variables that went to create the chaos that we witnessed and we all had to be slightly secondhand embarrassed by. Okay? You said a future Juan Dixon. Juan don't come off as feminine to me. If you ask me, Michael Darby comes off way more feminine than Juan. The way he tries to argue with women. Giannis, yeah, he is another huge guy. Very true. I want to hear what Darren's opinion of that video with him and Giannis is. I wish I could say that name, but I just can't. I can't do it. But and like I said, I feel like that was feminine energy, feminine behavior, because it's usually, historically, women are expected to be emotional like that. If he was going to have a reaction, and I hate to feel like I hate to feel like I'm agreeing with Stephen A. Smith, because y'all know I don't like Stephen/Stephanie, but he had a very good point on ESPN this morning, and like he said, it's a difference in a reaction and then acting out. Now, when everything first happened, if he'd have popped off and swung on LeBron, I think everybody would have understood it. It was a reaction to being hit. I mean, it could be pronounced like that. I just said what I said. Darren Hood, what you say? You saw the video, but it's not that intense as last night debacle. Okay, so there's a pattern of behavior here. It's a pattern of behavior. Okay? Yeah, I don't like Stephen A. Smith at all, Miss Chocolate Divine, but I had to agree with him because he was telling the truth. Y'all know my rule. I don't care if I don't like you. Truth is truth. A lie is a lie. Okay? And yep, absolutely, Dana. They was giving them clear people a show. Baby girl said you said the same thing. I hate to agree with Stephen A, but he has a point. Big point. That man was in front of you when he was reaching down saying, "My bad, I didn't mean to do that." Why didn't you pop? Why didn't you jump up and swing right then? Like that would have been, you could have kept your manhood and your pride had you just reacted right then. Like reach out and touch him right then. Okay? But you didn't. And it was so funny. Stephen A was trying to make that point and pointing out the fact that, that behavior was unacceptable. You didn't even consider how the optics as far as how it would look to the league. And of course you got a stiffer punishment because of what it looked like to the league. Let's be honest. You gave them the optics of an out of control person with rage issues, and you're still black. It don't matter if you got a contract, if you're making millions, you're still black, and you are a large black man. And whether we like it or not, that's our reality. And what was so funny, the younger gentleman that was there, Ryan Clark, he was so emotional and feminine himself, he couldn't even understand it. Like he was having his girly time moment where he's like, I mean, yeah, so he's supposed to get hit and just not do nothing because it's LeBron. I was looking like, oh my God, does he have on a pair of pink thongs? You're justifying this young man behaving like a extra feminized male and while doing the same thing yourself. It was so pitiful that he could not even understand the point that Stephen A was trying to make. And I feel terrible because I am now being forced to agree with Stephen A. Smith. Y'all don't know what that does to me. Yeah, it's so emotional. Hey, Vet. And that is not supposed to be the behavior of a man. Not a young man or old man. No man. Why are you doing that? He say, I'm just glad he didn't knock down that woman that was in the purple shirt wiping his face. That right there would have made me really mad. Well, the thing is, that lady could have been harmed while he was acting a darn fool. Okay? So now let's look at the logistics. Let's look at the logistics. Had he just swung right back, nobody would even be talking about this. Fights happen on the court all the time. You check somebody too hard. You foul somebody too hard. Y'all are men. Men get physical. The game is physical. You get popped, you pop back, you move around. Simple as that. But we have somehow managed to raise an entire generation of boys. And I do mean that because he's the same age as my children, younger than two of them. But this particular generation of young men have a whole lot of feminine energy. And I'm not the only one that says it. A lot of people say it. But the problem is when we start talking about it, all of the blame will immediately go to Black women. We, according to them, we raised a bunch of feminized males. We did it. We drove their daddies away. I'm just saying, this is what some of the, what do they call those people? Manosphere people. This is what some of them say, the gender wars people who just practice misogynoir and just hate Black women in general. Everything is a Black woman's fault. And so then we get the blame for us having feminized males. Okay? But this young man doesn't even fall into that category. And we're going to get into that in a minute. Hey, Juan. We miss you. You say you think when the blood hit his face, he went nuts. You think that's what it is? Okay. Hey, Red Pill, Neon Matrix, AWAKENING. All right. Well, I'm glad you're here. And welcome. Y'all make sure y'all welcome my sister. Hey, Wani. So this is the thing. We get the blame for it, but this young man does not fall into that paradigm at all. No matter what happens, we get blamed. We did it, but in this case, we didn't do it. We're talking about a young Black man, okay? A young Black man who was actually raised All right, so let's do this because for whatever reason the sound started acting up. Yeah, it did. It did that to me. But yeah, so I just found it very interesting that this young man doesn't fit the stereotype. He doesn't fit into the paradigm. A lady 747 says, "What's the solution?" Well, we're going to get into the solution in a little bit, a possible solution. But let's talk about everything, all the particulars first. Yeah, men don't do that. I'm gonna pop off, like at that point, you may as well twirl your neck. That's all I'm saying. You may as well twirl your neck. Say there was another heated moment with Isaiah Stewart and Blake Griffin that happened 2 weeks ago. Right. This is the thing. Hey, Wicked. This is the thing that blows my mind. It blows my mind is the fact that this set of young men are displaying these behaviors at an alarming rate. It's not just him. This did not happen in a vacuum. This did not happen in a vacuum. And it's cool to say, okay, he's a hothead, and that's true, and we can see it. You say it sounds like he's intimidated by big guys. Then that could be it. Hey, SFF, you say the guys call it jumping out the window now. Okay, well, all right, don't jump out no windows. Yes, and you know what? He looks like a fullback, and he is a beautiful young man. And I mean that in the truest sense of the word. He's absolutely beautiful. I believe truly, he's probably the delight of his mother and the pride of his father. He is a beautiful young man. But somewhere along the line, it's not translating to these young men to actually be men. Okay? So let's look at what went on. This young man acted up. He literally is running over, steamrolling during this temper tantrum. Temper tantrum. Steamrolled over coaches, his fellow players. There was some security. I think they said some law enforcement, just acting like a whole fool. Acting like a whole fool. See, if you ask me, this is how the Zach Stacey's of the world start out. You say steamrolled about 10, I believe it. But this is how it happens. This is how it starts. It is dangerous for feminine energy to be trapped in an extra masculine body. That young man is the picture of masculinity when it comes to his physical form. Redfield say this is the opening of a portal. Our women must take the lead and become the backbone. Oh no, I'm not going. I can't say that. We don't need to take no lead. I think that's partially how we got into the trouble we in. Is taking the lead when that ain't our place. Unfortunately, I think we were thrust into an unfortunate position where for a while we have no choice. But I think these young men seeing women in the lead so much, I think for them being powerful is emulating energy that is feminine. It is dangerous. This is the kind of thing that gets our young men killed. Now you imagine had there been a traffic stop and one of those policemen did something and he was unable to behave like a man and control himself. At 20 years old, I don't care what nobody's saying. I don't care who get mad. At 20, you still a baby. That is some woman's baby. That is his father's baby. Nobody wants to get a call because your baby is throwing temper tantrums, trying to show them that hell has no fury like a woman scorned, and he's 6 foot, God knows what, and huge. And you know they scared a monkey told a crackhead who 50 pounds. What you think they gonna say about a young man that size throwing an emotional temper tantrum? Marvin says he better gather himself quickly. His contract will come and go very quickly, and folks will be saying Isaiah who. And that's the other unfortunate part. Now, the head coach of the Pistons told him, don't let this moment define you. But what's unfortunate is that it may be too late. SFF says Isaiah was a bloody mess, shaking my head. I don't know what to say. I believe he started it with LeBron and LeBron reacted. I do believe he started it to a degree, only to a degree. But I also feel like LeBron, with him being a veteran, he's only been ejected one other time during his career. This is the only second time he's ever been ejected. But I don't know whether it was frustrating him that the boy was like all up on him like he was or whatever. But he still should have been mindful. He shouldn't have got frustrated and flung his arm. He didn't have to do that. And that's why he was penalized for it, because it was uncalled for. He didn't have to do it. I'm glad that it looked to me like LeBron recognized I reacted and I shouldn't have. My bad. I didn't mean to do that. That's a very masculine response, is to address it. Okay? A lady 747 said a woman can't teach a man how to be a man or masculine, but she can teach maturity. Well, here's the thing. There is a thing in this world, things I should say, or energies such as masculine energy and feminine energy. So while you can teach maturity, your version of maturity comes with a whole lot of feminine energy. It does not come with masculine energy. You feel that way? There's a bigger picture. Absolutely. Thank you, Dom Nelson. This is how they want black men to act with the negative energy. Absolutely. They like to see the image of the wild primitive beast that can't be tamed, and it's a lot of that, but the league doesn't want that image out. That's not an image that the league is trying to promote, because they want clear people to come there and be comfortable spending their money and feel like, hey, we have these N words tamed and under control. They're paid well and fed well. They won't eat you. But I want to go a little bit further. I don't know if y'all have ever watched The Get Up on ESPN. If you haven't, it's worth checking out every now and then. So The Get Up was on this morning. It's another ESPN segment on YouTube, on ESPN's YouTube channel. So y'all go check out The Get Up from this morning. About 45 seconds in, the clear man there actually referred to the man's energy. He like compared him to his wife. I want y'all to understand this. I'm not the only person that saw feminine energy on that court. This clear man just compared this massive young black man, I mean, by anybody's standards, a picture of masculinity when it comes to his physical appearance. Compared that young man to his wife and said, oh, that's how my wife acts when she goes to the store. Hey, Spiller. Protect My Energy says, bam, everything is out of order. They're trying to imitate us women because they watch us women trying to handle manly duties in our feminine ways for so long involuntarily. Exactly. We gave them an example of leadership that I don't believe was ever intended. So now we have a lot of young men who their only example for strength, success, and leadership are feminine. However, we have this young man who was raised by his father, his Jamaican father. I want y'all to let that sink in. I got quiet for a second. It wasn't a moment of silence. It was just so y'all could catch that. Hey, Spiller. Hey, Sweet Diva. I want y'all to get it. Sis says, until some of the men, their feminine energy has begun to tap into the feminine energy. They have male and female chromosome. They are shaming the black men to get into their feelings. I think I feel where you're coming from. I know sometimes spell correct will mess you up, but they do have both chromosomes, and that's absolutely true. However, I do agree with, I feel like they are being pushed into channeling that energy. I do feel like it's celebrated. I do feel like it's encouraged. I think it was encouraged by some of the behavior that happened in the arena. The people were getting hyped up. The people had to come over to PA and say, y'all stay in your seats, because apparently, y'all know, back in the same exactly the same venue in Detroit in '04, they had the Malice in the Palace, where everybody went to fighting and cutting up. The crowd went wild, and the response in social media were people almost congratulatory of this behavior, rather than sitting this young man down and say, hey, this is not what men do. Yeah, Jamaican. That's right. I said it. His Jamaican daddy. And from all accounts, the daddy is a man's man. The daddy came up the way we came up. The orange grove, the watermelon field. That's right. He left Florida, apparently went up to Rochester on the season to pick apples and decided to stay there. Ended up working in construction, running the jackhammer. So daddy was a man's man and took care of his children and took them to school and got them back home, and just a man's man by the accounts that I was able to find of this man, because I had to go looking for him Because I said, well, let's see what's going on with Daddy Stewart. Let's see if Daddy Stewart had something that wasn't quite right. If something was funny. And it sounds like wasn't nothing funny with Daddy Stewart. But the outbursts, the tantrums, the public displays, those are feminine qualities. And they're dangerous in Black men. They are being celebrated by Black people. Black women were online, some of which I know for a fact don't even have watch sports of any kind. If they do, it's in passing. And they were talking a mile a minute, praising the behavior, cheering, laughing, guffawing. Oh, they were enjoying themselves. I done did that same thing. What y'all wanted him to do? Act like a man. Act like a man. That's what he should have done. Now, baby girl asked the question. So where is the femininity coming from? That's what I wanted us to get to. Because this is a case where I know the whole world loves to blame Black women, but this is one time where you can't point to a sister and say, y'all did this. We did not do this one. Oh no. Oh no, no. If anything, I think this particular case proves that you can do absolutely everything you're supposed to do, including handing the boy to his daddy, and still get the same result. So then the question is, where is it coming from? Where did it come from? And Sharon, I'm sorry, I think you don't hit the nail on the head. There is an agenda to feminize Black men, and it starts with the media. Sharon, girl, if you lived anywhere close, I'd bake you a pie. Hey, Rochelle, it's the truth. It's the truth. And I can prove it. The reason I say it's the truth and I can prove it is mainly because of the response to this young man's behavior in this situation right here. The way we as a community responded to it shows that the conditioning is already there. The conditioning is there to encourage, reward, and make excuses rather than loving correction. Because I don't think we should ever lambaste or attack our babies, because at 20, he's a baby. But there was no loving correction. As in simply, young man, this ain't what you need to be doing. Yeah, and we don't need to praise that. Hey, Tina B. Tina B says he's only 20 years old. He used to be a boxer. Okay, saw that blood and lost his temper. Plus, the Lakers were talking and taunting him. Part of the sport sometimes won't call this young man feminine over this. I didn't say he was feminine. I said he had feminized behavior, and I stand by it. And it's not just about losing your temper. That young man put on a show. He put on an entire show. Go back and watch it again. There were too many times when he stopped his rage theatrics, because those were theatrics. Those are the kind of theatrics that we used to see in young girls when they really didn't want to fight, but they wanted to make a lot of noise and put on a show. They hoop and holler, and I'm gonna get her, and I'm gonna beat her, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do it. And they run at them and take off they drawstring ponytail and take off earrings. That's what it was. Period. I sat there and watched. It was too many times when he had a clear shot and Buddy Rose slowed them feet down. LeBron was right there in his face and slowed them feet down. And the fact that you used to be a boxer, let me tell you something about boxers. Boxers have control. If you don't have control in a boxing ring, you get your clock cleaned. You have to stay under control in order to measure your licks. Not only did I box, you see this little girl right here? That's my daughter. I taught her to box. And she nice with them hands too. And matter of fact, ask her in the chat. One of the first things I taught her was not to lose your cool and control yourself, because the minute you lose your cool, somebody gonna clean your clock, because now you're not thinking, you're acting like a wild animal. What I saw on that court was not the behavior of a boxer. That was the behavior of a young man having a very feminine temper tantrum. And yes, sis, the media does reward feminine men. So much so that a masculinized heterosexual Black man will have a very hard time being hired even for a job if he's standing next to someone who is another black man who is extremely feminine. That's right, Nacho Twins mamas. We used to call them wolf tickets. Wolf tickets. Oh, so y'all ain't see the girls ripping off drawstring ponytails and earrings and stuff. Y'all, that was just in Florida. If it's just us, I'll take that. So his career would have been ruined had he hit LeBron. Lel. What's sad is he could have messed himself up just by putting on this display. Lel, mainly because of how bad the file ended up looking. I think he would have been okay if he'd have just popped off right then. Men do that. Men exchange licks. They have misunderstandings and then they get over it and they move on. What men do not do is act like Monique Samuels from Real Housewives of Potomac. Because that's all I saw with the running and jogging and running and charging back and plowing through people. What if he had harmed somebody? What if nobody wants to renew this young man's contract? I feel like we need to talk about the bigger issues because this young man has been given such a wonderful opportunity. And we don't want our babies to get wonderful opportunities and then lose opportunities because we refuse to tell them the truth. Now, on that one, yeah, he was giving Monique Samuels realness. He was. And that ain't exactly what I would like to see from our young men. Now, whereas black women are not to blame for this behavior, I'm going to need us not to be co-signing and all up and through social media, making excuses for this behavior that we are responsible from, that we're responsible for that. Lel say Monique did a little better than him because she at least did lay hands in the moment before the theatrics. Right. Dr. J 1913 says LeBron has tried Curry, Durant, and others. The NBA is thinking about sponsors. Look at his history. Okay. But what I'm saying is, have we not seen scuffles or these men trade shots on the court? We have. We've seen it, and then they move on. Wanda says, yep, hair, earrings, Vaseline, ponytails. Yeah, and a lot of them would go through all the theatrics of doing that just to try to show people I'm ready to fight, and then ain't gonna bust a grape. Ain't gonna bust a grape. You doing all that for what? Other than shaming yourself. And thank you, Angie. His career could end before it starts. And to me, that is regrettable. That is terrible. That's something that I don't want to see happen to this young man or any other young man. He had one cut over his eye. One cut over his eye. And that sister mentioned that he was a boxer. Then you already know, Mr. Boxer, if you get a cut over your eye, you gonna leak with all the blood vessels in your face and your head. Yes, it reminds you of a middle school fight. Right. Because if you box and you get a cut, that's why they got a cut man in the corner to stop the bleeding. Because if not, it will look a bloody mess. It just ain't that deep unless you're a hysterical woman. Oops, did I say that? But like I said, it's not about whether LeBron was intentional, unintentional. I just can't believe that he would actually intentionally hit this kid in the face. I don't think he meant it like that. I think he got frustrated and did something that he knew was inappropriate. He tried to apologize, but the young man's eye was cut at that point. Okay. Should LeBron be penalized? Absolutely. Do I think he should have got more than one game suspension? Absolutely. Should he have been ejected from the game? Absolutely. And to be honest with you, I feel like if Isaiah hadn't acted like a nut, he wouldn't have got ejected, nor would he have been suspended at all. It was the display that he put on. Right. Thank you. Say it again. That's why they cut the face in wrestling for the dramatics. Yeah, it was some bad acting, but it was the behavior of a child that's not somehow along the way, we're giving these kids the wrong impression. And I'm saying we because we all got a hand in it. If these images in the media persist, it's because we patronize them. Does that make sense, y'all? If they put certain things on television and movies and we don't patronize them and we don't show up and they don't get the ratings, they will stop putting these images out. Angie, you say what's next? The baddest man hit my hand. I guess that's what's next. I guess that's what's next. And I'm assuming we're going to have some more grown women co-signing, saying that's right, because that's what I would do. I would have kicked off my shoes. The problem is that young man is not a woman. Say it again, Dana. It's pitiful. It just really appeared to be more demonstrative once there was attention or an audience. I think when LeBron first was like, my bad, I didn't mean to do that. When he stood up, I think he was just gonna talk a little trash and that was gonna be it. And they were gonna have a man moment and whatever. And then once the attention came and the people started gathering and running up, like, ooh, let me hold him back. Then the display and the demonstration happened. It was like, okay, now it's time to do the thing. Now it's time to do the thing. Let's do it. Let's put on. Definitely a bad look. Now, Red Pill says, I lost respect for LeBron when he cursed his mother out while she was in the stands when he first entered the league. He cussed out his mama? Girl, you teaching me. I didn't know he cussed out his mama. But one thing at a time. Let me go look into that and we can talk about that too. I don't know why he would have cursed out his mother. That's just vulgar. But what we witnessed on the court, another thing that we witnessed that I got to point out, because y'all know me, I don't like to just talk about the obvious. Everybody else talking about the obvious. They don't need nobody else to jump in on that. But the other thing that we witnessed, which maybe wasn't so obvious to some, but we witnessed a transfer of energy. Do y'all know what I mean when I say transfer of energy? Like, does that make any sense to you, what I'm saying? I feel like I witnessed a transfer of energy from that young man. He put out all that energy, woofing, screaming, hollering, running. You know, like he did everything but the Willow Smith. I shake my hair back and forth. You felt that? You saw that? You saw that transfer of energy? You transferred all your energy over there to those men on the other team, and they came back and won the game. It wasn't because they were so wonderful. And it's definitely not like, the sports commentators were making it out to be this morning. Oh, this galvanized the team. It galvanized the team. They make me sick. And some of those men were barely literate. And they up there talking about it galvanized the team. Spell it. They were so excited and they were calling. Yes, that's why they said that announcement to the crowd, keep your seats, because there was a massive transfer of energy. He told her to sit her butt down. She was cussing out the player that fouled him. Okay, so did he curse her out or he told her to sit her A down because she was cussing somebody else out? I need the whole story, sis. You got to tell me so I can go look it, so I can get into it. Because I'll talk about what y'all want me to talk about. You just got to give me the whole story. Yes, baby girl, I said spell it. That's what they kept saying. Hey, galvanize. It didn't galvanize nothing. There was a transfer of energy. This is what happens when you're out of control. And ladies, that goes for us too. When you're out of control and you're spilling energy out of your seams, you're yelling, screaming, hollering, cussing, raging. You are spilling energy out of your seams, out of your orifices. It had the crowd amped up. People had to go over to PA and tell them to sit down. And then those men on the other team, they sitting over there like, all right, if Youngblood get through, we're going to go ahead and put him on his back. But all that did was get them amped up to finish whooping your tail on that court. I mean, you could call it that. I saw a transfer of energy because the people in them stands wasn't all men. There was more to the story with him and the mama. Yeah, sit your A down is not a cuss out. It's rude. None of my children better not never tell me to sit their A down. Sit my A down. That's real vulgar. I thought he had pulled a Lawrence Fishburne because Lawrence Fishburne was completely disrespectful to his mom. And like Candace from RHOP sat up there and said she cussed her mama out. Like she ain't never cussed her out before. That's a little different with the cussing out. But don't cuss when you're talking to me. Period. But that transfer of energy was real. We watched that. It was really disturbing. Learning to love myself. It happened in '08. LeBron and Paul Pierce got to it in front of his mom. She started defending him. Okay, that's what they just told me, learning to love myself. He said, sit your A down. That's different than a curse out. That's what I'm saying. So showing your A is what my grand would say, as my grand would say. Right. But that transfer of energy that took place because he wasn't taught to control himself. Like I said, this young man is 20. He's still a baby. And I feel safe saying that because white folks cheering can go and shoot up a mall and they gonna say, oh, he's a young man, he's just a kid. I don't care how big our sons get, how tall they get, how massive they look. At 20, they're still our babies. This baby has a wonderful opportunity. This is only his second year in the league, is what I'm finding out. Okay? And he may have stained his career before he ever even gave himself a chance to get going. And I was looking at clips of this young man. He's talented and has been since high school. The young man is just talented. Hey, Miss Sparkle. Lita say, let me try to yell at my mom. I'd be dead no matter my age. Facts. Yeah, he's cutting up like this. This is his second year in the league. And he could have really ruined himself before he ever got going. Yeah, 20. You say, OMG, he is the baby. Lord, I hope he learns from this and is shown some grace. I hope they show him some grace too. But I want our men to start having conversations with these young men and tell them the truth about their behavior and stop making excuses. And stop trying to blame everything on Black women, because this situation proves that it's not us. This is not a Black women problem. This is not a Black women are ruining our Black boys problem. This is a generational problem. And I absolutely believe the media has a lot to do with it. I absolutely believe the music has a lot to do with it. I absolutely believe that the culture that we live in right now, that we're raising these kids in, has a lot to do with it. Yeah, he doesn't realize he's a brand yet. Right, whether you're rich or not, it's true. Dom Nelson says they didn't want another Malice at the Palace. No, they didn't. And I don't blame them. I wouldn't have wanted to see that. I would not have wanted to see that. Thank you. It is a Black family problem. Right. He didn't hit him. Say, if not, the team needs to get him some counseling and a mentor and let that young man play and grow. And that's what we're saying. We hope they show him some grace. We pray that they show him some grace. But we got to start telling these children the truth. It's the excuse making for me. Tina B says he needs to work on managing his anger. Yes, more so than feminine energy, in your opinion. Okay, I respect it. I watch sports so much, not condoning at all. We can disagree on this, but I still love you, sis. I love you too. And I totally understand where you're coming from. But just seeing what I'm seeing, I gotta call it that way because that's what I saw. That's what I saw. And what really was disheartening was when I heard that clear man laughing and absolutely tickled pink to say, that's how my wife acts. I ain't making it up. Go look. This is how the world sees our young men. This type of behavior is what prevents them from being able to compete on a world stage when it comes to business or industry. Because we already know the world don't take women seriously. Even when we are forced to be reckoned with, we're still seen as somehow less than because we're women. And no matter how big these boys are, this is how they're seen. Why do you think it's such a big deal for them once they make it in sports, for them to put them on the front of magazines and wedding dresses and whatnot? This is what they want to see. I'm the mother of a son, and I've had to check him because I saw feminine qualities. See, I'm speaking as a mother, not just somebody who likes sports. I know what I'm looking at. I didn't make excuses then, not for my kid when I was correcting him, when I was raising that one. And I'm not going to make excuses for this young man. I know what I saw. Dom Nelson says the cops was ready to lock him up. You know they were. You know they were. I just really hope that this incident doesn't follow him forever. You know, that's my thing. I hope it doesn't follow him forever. Keisha E say that's a fact. Me too. Unacceptable. Yeah, unacceptable. Unacceptable. There's no excuse for it. And that young man is not to blame by himself. This is what I'm trying to say. This didn't happen in a vacuum. This is where the Zach Stacy's come from. This is where the Zach Stacy's come from. Because when they exhibit this behavior, nobody lets them know, young man, this is not how men act. Women throw tantrums. We don't. Women scream and yell and hoop and holler. We don't. You don't see men displaying that kind of behavior because usually they have more power and there's more of a power dynamic there. That behavior alone, you're signaling to other men that you feel less powerful. Like you really giving off some real off, real bad, real wrong type energy. Right. Stop giving them a rope to hang you with, please, black people. Right. It's the truth. We need to stop it. We need to stop it. We got to tell these kids the truth. Sharon B say food additives, etc., targeting a certain segment of the population, allegedly. I agree. Tina B says, "Gotcha, sis. I didn't know social media was condoning his behavior." Oh yeah, girl, yes. And black women were leading the charge, especially us. Not okay. And LeBron is a dirty player. He was looking for Stewart's number after the game to apologize. He tried to apologize on the court too. He did. And the young man jumped up. LeBron didn't even take one step back. He just stood there. And the young man started talking. That I feel like if nobody came rushing over, he probably would have never put on that show. Say acting like Captain Caveman. Right. And that's what them clear folks want to see you do. They want to see you disgrace yourself and act uncivilized and uncontrolled. So they can feel a little bit better about the inferiority complex that they already got when it comes to black men. They already have an inferiority complex when it comes to you, black men. So when you display this kind of behavior and they can clearly see that it's feminine energy, then they do like that clear fella on the Get Up on ESPN's YouTube this morning, and they laugh and chortle and joke about how you acting like his wife. That made him feel a little bit better about his insecurities towards you. Now, one thing I will say is black women, we are to blame for that. We ain't got no business championing this behavior. We have no business cheering it on. We have no business making excuses for it and saying, well, what else was he supposed to do? Be a man. That's what he was supposed to do. Clearly. Now, I ain't got a whole lot for this. I just had to put it out there because it was really disturbing me watching, just watching all of the excuses, watching everything, just watching it play out, seeing what people had to say, seeing how much of a kick people were getting out of this whole situation. Because there was a lot of people that were really getting a kick out of this. I threw the link in case somebody else got something to say. I done said everything I wanted to say. I addressed it. I feel better because I had to get that off my chest. I wasn't gonna make it till I did. I'm sorry. I couldn't take no more. But I mean, it was embarrassing. Like that's the only word I got for it. I couldn't even laugh at it. I saw everybody laughing and kicking and ooh, he just kept going and ooh, he was running. He had to give him a piece and um yeah. Mm-mm. I wasn't tickled. I was not amused. I was not entertained. And the only entertaining thought I had briefly was, dang, this show is reminding me a lot of Monique Samuels. That was about it. You say they already burned his jersey. You said that should tell him a lot. Who burned his jersey? Yeah, let the authorities handle stuff. Right. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. And mind you, this is coming from somebody that used to fight and go on and whatever. And I'm just telling you, at my age, I've learned better. Looking back over my shoulder, like they say, hindsight is 2020. When I was 20, I was dumb, but I was a dumb little girl. At a certain point, we just got to call a thing a thing. So we are kings and queens, black people. America needs us. We made this country. Child, I don't care nothing about America. I'm gonna just tell you that. We need us, and we definitely need us to act better. I didn't even see that comment. Yeah, it was nothing to laugh at. But girl, the amount of people that were laughing, kikiing, and chuckling and sniggling, as Big Mama them used to say, I still don't know what the hell sniggling is. I'm just saying. But that's what was going on. You wonder if it's going to be financial penalties? I can guarantee you there's going to be financial penalties. Anybody who ever considered an endorsement with this young man is going to think twice. I still want to know who's burning his jersey. They're not even giving him a chance to like bounce back, come back, make a statement, try to explain himself. Not that there's any excuse for it, but they already burning jerseys. That's right. We need us to hell with America because America been said to hell with us. And they ain't just started. You mean like fines? I hope they don't fine this young man. They done already suspended him for 2 games, ejected him from the game. You say the fans was probably burning the jersey. Oh wow. Yeah, absolutely losing money though. This is just so bad. This is just so bad. But say when he left the team to go and play for the Lakers. Oh, you talking about when LeBron left the team and went to the Lakers? Oh, child, you knew that was gonna happen. Yeah, if the fans throw this baby away, he will be in trouble. You say giggling is like sniggling. No, sniggling something different. Because if it was giggling, because they used to say giggling and sniggling. I want to know person if anybody can tell me what sniggling mean, I give you $20. Miss Knott said, "That's right, Seanitra. We need each other." Facts. Snickering, laughing according to Muddy. Nah, Spiller. It's something else to it. Because I remember we used to get in trouble for sitting in the back of the church, passing notes, chewing gum, and I quote, giggling and sniggling. Okay? So if they put giggling and sniggling, they said we was doing something other than giggling. We was giggling, but they accused us also of sniggling. I just need to know. You said a snickering and giggling. So if you put a snickering with a giggle, then it's a sniggle. Okay, so what makes a snicker different than a giggle? And how do you put the two together? I'm confused. JC says some of the best students in my school won't make it because they're so reactive. I'm gonna show this fight to them and have a lesson about it. That's right. Good point. Do that. Please do that because we need to make sure this kind of thing does not continue to happen. Today, the whole world was watching this. Lord, look at this baby when niggas snicker. Oh my God. I would tell somebody to get my kid, but that's my kid. I get her. Y'all get her if she's somewhere doing this and I'm not there. Get her for me and bring her to me. Yeah, I just want to know what sniggling is. That's all. I'm lost. And listen, I'm finna get up out of here. She say sneaking and giggling. Hey, listen, your niece need medicine. That girl been crazy a long time. She has. She has. She used to yell and scream and fight, but you know she was a girl. That's all I'm saying. She was a little girl. But listen, I'm finna get up out of here. I done had it for the day. I'm done. I'm getting up out of here. I'm gonna get me something to eat. It is now 6:30 in the evening, going on 7 o'clock shortly, and I have not swallowed anything except lemon juice, and I think I'm ready to eat now. That's right, Angie. One bad decision mess up your whole life. Exactly. Exactly. So listen, guys, thank y'all for popping in here. And thank y'all for letting me talk about this a little bit. Because I know that's not our usual commentary. But every now and then when something affects all of us and I can kind of see a correlation where it's in line with what we do talk about from time to time, I don't mind going there. So I appreciate y'all bearing with me while I do that. Lord, look at her. I'm like, girl, why you ain't eat? I ain't studying your little hips. I'll call you when I get off this phone. But I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Those of you with the like button, thank you. If you have not hit it, please go ahead and do so. I would greatly appreciate it. And please subscribe if you have not subscribed. The new subscribers, you are so highly welcome. Please come again and come often. Hit the notification bell. And please, guys, remember to click all so you'll know every time we go live over here. Again, you are welcome. And for those of you who are new and joining the chat, thank you. I love to see new faces and get new ideas and energy and opinions. It means everything. But I will talk to you later. Vita kicking me out. She said go eat. So I'm gonna do it. Wait. You got a couple comments. Tina B wrote a big one, so I gotta see what she say. She say he isn't a dirty player, LeBron. He'll Stewart lose payment for those two games. That should be it besides endorsements, like you said. Meta told us how that brawl really affected his endorsements. Oh, yeah, he did. Ron did say that. That's true. Very true. Sharon says when folks see these images of black men acting like this in America, then they hear black people getting killed. Right. All right. Marvin say have a baked potato. No, ma'am, because I don't want to look like a potato. uh-uh. I gotta keep that. This hourglass might have a little extra sand in it, but I got to keep it. I'm gonna leave them potatoes alone. You got it. All right, but I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Bye now. Y'all go eat too. Hit the like button on your way out. I appreciate you guys. Bye bye.